They say history is written by the victor, and if you ask the NBA's Western Conference this century, they'd say that's true. Since 2000, 13 of the past 19 NBA champions have been from the Western Conference, and 13 of the past 19 NBA MVPs have been from out west as well. Therefore, the stigma has been created that the Eastern Conference has become the weaker conference, often dominated by one team or one player, whereas the West has been stacked, forcing even the deserving teams out of the playoffs. And while that might be true at the turn of the decade, the tides, they are changing. Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks own the league's best record, and the current reigning MVP is probably going to add another one this season. The Boston Celtics have the J brothers, Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, who are rising superstars. The Toronto Raptors have Pascal Siakam, who seems like he just can't stop improving. The Philadelphia 76ers have two emerging yet confused superstars in Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons that are so good that people want to break them up Shaq and Kobe style. And all the way at the bottom of the East, Trae Young is making basketball in Atlanta fun again. So while the West has LeBron, Harden, Kawhi, and Steph Curry, the East has these guys. And they also have their secret weapon in Brooklyn taking the season off. Oh boy. For more videos like this, whether it's in the NBA, UFC, or sports in general, subscribe to Lingo News and follow our Lingo Sports playlist. Anyways, let's get into our argument for why the East is about to take over. We'll start with the Milwaukee Bucks. Barring free agency leading Giannis to the West, the Greek Freak is probably going to be a Milwaukee Buck for a very, very long time. Oh, and by the way, he's probably going to be the best player in the NBA for the next 5 years. There's been only 2 seasons where a player has averaged 25 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists while also having a true shooting percentage of greater than 60%. One is Giannis Antetokounmpo in 2018-2019, and the other is Giannis Antetokounmpo this season. Like, he is literally the only player to do that. Not Michael Jordan, not LeBron James, not Kobe Bryant, Giannis. Oh, and by the freaking way, he's doing that all while only playing 30 minutes a game. Let's stretch that out to 36 minutes a game for historical purposes. Giannis would average 34.5 points, 16 rebounds, 6.5 assists. Do I really have to argue this anymore? He is in contention to be one of the best to ever do it, and if he stays in Milwaukee, the Bucks will be good for the next decade. Now to the J brothers in Boston. They're actually not brothers, but hey, neither are Steph Curry or Klay Thompson, so let's keep going. Anyways, anyone would argue that the Celtics have had some amazing players walk through the TD Garden. Bill Russell, Larry Bird, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, some pretty good teammates too. But statistically, as teammates, Tatum and Brown are doing something insane. Other than Larry Bird and Paul Pierce, Tatum and Brown are the only Celtics to ever average 20 points in their first 4 years of their careers. Oh, and yeah, they're doing it at the exact same time. It's like they are two sides of the coin, and they genuinely seem like they like playing with each other, which is weird for two young, budding superstars to do. Which leads me to my next team, the conundrum that is the Philadelphia 76ers. Let's get into the meat of potatoes, shall we? Because there's way too much conversation about splitting these two guys up. With Joel Embiid on the court and Ben Simmons off the court, the Sixers have an offensive rating of 110 and a defensive rating of 100. 110 would be good for 14th in the NBA right now, and 100 would be the absolute best defense in the NBA, even better than the Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously showing off Embiid's defensive ability. Okay, now for Simmons. Without Embiid, the Sixers have an offensive rating of 112, good for 3rd in the NBA right now, and a defensive rating of 109, which would be good for about 10th in the NBA defensively. Together, it's somewhere in the middle. Offensively, they'll be at 108, and defensively 107, which is meh. In theory, having both of them play together should work, but you need to realign themselves a little bit. Simmons would serve more as a low post facilitator operating from the low block, and Embiid would be that big bruising center in the middle. But for that to work, you need another ball handler other than Simmons to work it around the perimeter, and well, they just don't have that. Sorry, Shake Milton. It also makes sense if they were to be split up. Having Embiid as your centerpiece would be similar to the Dwight Howard Orlando Magic teams, where defenders would be forced to double and even triple team in the post, leading to open shots around the perimeter. Or you could build around Simmons, similar to the early days of Giannis and the Bucks, where Giannis would drive into the paint, forcing defenders to help, leaving shooters open around the perimeter. It's the same thing, and it's tough because, in a sense, they can be the same player. I genuinely feel like this is a good problem to have. You have two players that are so good that they can potentially be just as good together, save for some adjustments, or if they split up, they'd be just as good too. I don't know, Philly fans, you guys are going to kill me for this anyways, but I'll reiterate this. Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons can work together. Just depends if they want to. Now that that's out the way, onto a more positive note, the defending champion Toronto Raptors. Sure, they lost Kawhi Leonard, but the most underrated thing around the 2019 finals run is that they may have found their other superstar, Pascal Siakam. Siakam's growth has been incredible and really unparalleled to any other NBA player ever. In his first year, he started 38 games and averaged 4 points. The next year, 7 points, 4 rebounds, but off the bench. But just last year, his jump was exponential. He averaged 16 points, 7 rebounds, and shot over 54% from the field. For his dramatic jump, he won the league's most improved player. So that's right? That's it. That's as good as Spicy P is going to get. Nope, this year he's posting career highs in points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, free throws, and free throw attempts, and made his very first All-Star game, earning a max contract in Toronto. He struggled in terms of shooting, and he's definitely had points in the season where he's had to learn what it means to be a true star, but it's safe to say that despite the Raptors' loss of Kawhi, they are in very good hands. The Raptors also have Fred VanVleet and OG Anunoby, who are making leaps of their own, and a young head coach in Nick Nurse, who will probably be the Raptors coach for a very long time. And last but not least, Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks. Look, the Hawks have a lot of work to do before they can catch up to the other guys, but Trae Young is a good place to start. Great offensive player, but arguably the worst defensive player of all time. He's so talented, he's one of 13 players in NBA history to average 25 points, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds while having a true shooting percentage of 55%. He's only in his second year, so there's plenty of time for the Hawks to build around his talent. They've already tried adding defense in Clint Capella, and hopefully some of the quote-unquote defenders they've drafted in Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter can turn into good 3-and-D players. Lots of we'll sees for the Hawks, but the future is extremely bright for the young team. That brings me to my final point. Youth. Between these guys in the Eastern Conference, their average age is 23.4. Between the guys in the West that I mentioned earlier on in the video, their average is 31, and Father Time is eventually going to catch up. The East clearly has the advantage when it comes to age going into the next decade, and with the curtains closing on the West superstars, a shift in the NBA is bound to happen. That is, if the NBA does decide to come back at any point. Please. Oh yeah, and I forgot. So because the NBA is suspended and we won't be seeing the NBA for maybe another month, maybe 2 months, maybe 3, that gives all the time in the world for guess who to be healthy. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving could finally be healthy, and the Brooklyn Nets can be another contender in the East. That just adds to so much that is happening in the Eastern Conference right now between the young players that are ascending and growing when it comes to the Milwaukee Bucks, the Philadelphia 76ers, Toronto Raptors, Boston Celtics, even the Atlanta Hawks. Now you have this team that has won championships before in Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. How crazy is that? The Eastern Conference is ready to take over the NBA. It's just a matter of time. Now, there's also other stuff. There are a lot of other players in the Eastern Conference that want to prove themselves. Markelle Fultz and the Orlando Magic. Chicago Bulls, Zach LaVine and Lauri Markkanen. Devontae Graham and the Charlotte Hornets. There is so much young talent in the Eastern Conference that you have to expect them to take over. I wouldn't discount the future of the West, though. They have 3 players that are probably going to take over the NBA, too. Those 3 players are Zion Williamson, Luka Doncic, and Ja Morant. Those 3 seem to be the next 3 big superstars in the NBA, and I wouldn't discount that either. It's just that they're too young, and I'm going to make a video on that. So if you guys want a video on the Western Conference and how that is going to compete just as well with the East very, very soon, hit me up in the comments. Let me know. For now, I've given you the facts. I've even given you the stats. I'll see you guys later. Take care. For more videos like this on Lingo News, check out our Lingo Sports channel and make sure to hit the subscribe button and let us know in the comments if you guys want any suggestions for other sports videos that you'd like as well. We've got you.